Hello everybody and welcome back down the creek. Today's video we're going to be solving a problem with one of my new sub-hobbies of fishing, which is kayak fishing. I went ahead and picked up a kayak, a fishing kayak at that, but this launch that I have here is incredibly steep. It's literally like 13 feet down and out. And I've been sliding the kayak down the hill and it's pretty rocky and it's getting some damage. So we're gonna build a kayak launch ramp. So you're gonna wanna see this. So I picked up this fishing kayak on Facebook Marketplace and I paid about 500 bucks for it. And you know, it's in the channel, right? The name of the channel is On the Creek. I started my channel fishing here just in the backyard, bank fishing, but you know, as my hobby progressed and I got boats, I started doing a lot of big water fishing. So now I use the big boat, but the big boat is complicated and it's not real good for shallow water. So I picked up this fishing kayak to try and spend more time fishing, just simple, easy, maybe after work. But dragging it up and down the hill that I have to drag it down with all the rocks has been pretty rough on the bottom of this thing. It was in very good shape when I bought it, but now it's starting to get scuffed up and I've only used it twice. So I had this idea to use basically some lumber and create a ramp that I could slide it down on with maybe like PVC runners that would allow for less friction. But started looking around and my idea developed to maybe add rollers, but rollers are very expensive. But I did see a video about somebody making a loading ramp using EMT pipe and PVC pipe, and we're going to kind of do a hybrid version of his and mine. It's just going to be longer and it's going to work for my application. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is I figured out what the width needs to be. So we're going to cut the 2x4s that are going to basically connect everything together. So let's go get that done. Okay, so I've figured out that I want it to be 3 foot 3 inches wide. So I need my supports to be 3 foot 3 inches wide. So I've got it measured out here, 3 foot 3 inches from the end, and I'm gonna make a cut. And I should get, these are 8 foot 2x4s, so I should get 2 boards out of each, and I will have a piece of scrap. So I probably could have got a little bit longer and not had the scrap piece, but at the time I wasn't positive how wide I wanted it to be, but I've decided that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to cut this, safety first, safety glasses. I've got my circular saw. And to make sure that it cuts straight, I've got this here, which is my square, carpenter square. We're going to cut it. Now I'm going to measure from the other end, 3 foot 3 inches. Mark it. That's my scrap piece. Pull this out. Make a cut. Scrap piece out. 2 pieces. Now rinse and repeat, and I'm going to do that on the 4 other boards that I have. Okay, so we got our cross members cut. Now I could have added more, but I didn't want to add too many because I don't want this to be super heavy. I do want to be able to move this if I have to. Plus I think when I add the roller system that I have in mind, I think that will add a little bit of stability. Maybe it won't, but we're going to give it a try the way it is anyway. Now that we got all of our supports cut, we need to start putting it together. So I've got some longer boards that are going to be the sides. And I got flags on there that I need to take off. So the sideboards are 2x4x12s. And what we're going to do is we're going to put them together like this. And then I want this 3.5-inch board to go in between it. We're just going to make, at this point, we're going to make a box. We're just making a simple box. And then we'll build from there. So I'm going to use these long decking screws. These are 3.5-inch to get this process started. Now for the outside brackets, I'm going to be adding these galvanized metal corner brackets, and I'm going to do that by attaching them with 1 3/4-inch deck screws. And I just want to do that because I want some extra stability just in the outside frame. There's going to be some stuff on the inside, but these are just like a 90-degree corner, and it should be pretty straightforward to screw this in. And it takes 6 screws each corner. And that's just going to put a little extra stability. Okay, so now that I got my box made and my corners reinforced on my lead edge, I'm going to put in the middle support. So I want it in the middle, so I know it needs to be at 6 feet. And it doesn't have to be exact, but that's 6 foot there. And that's 6 foot there. So this is where I'm going to fix it down to. I'm back to using the long screws again. So now that I got my middle support, I want to put in my next couple of supports. And I know I want one maybe a foot from the lead edge. So that's the one I'm going to do next. And then on the back side, I'll do one that's a foot from the back edge as well. Now we have our frame completely built. We're going to take some measurements and fab up the rollers. So it looks like we need our pipes to be 42 inches. So we're gonna mark off some pipes and cut some pipes. So we moved into the garage to make this easier. We're gonna mark and cut this EMT pipe every 42 inches. And we're gonna be cutting this with an angle grinder, so we wanna make sure that we use proper safety attire. Ears and eyes, because this is gonna be loud. So I'm going to be making this cut using my Drill Master angle grinder. I bought this at Harbor Freight for a very inexpensive price. I think it was $10 on sale when I bought it, and I've used it extensively, and I'm just using a cutoff wheel. Now I'm going to cut all these into 42-inch sections. I'm probably not going to bore you with watching me cut all these pipes, but I'm hoping to get 3 sections out of each pipe. So we're going to measure it and see. So I got all my sections cut, but the ends are very rough and sharp, so I'm going to hit them with the flat disc to try and make them all a little smoother. So I'm just going to lock this in my vise. And I got the same grinder, but I put a flap disc on. A flap disc is basically sandpaper, and I'm just going to hit the ends. Okay, so all my pulls are done, and I even cleaned up some of the shorter scrap pieces. I'm thinking I can do, on the very beginning and the very end, a shorter roller just to get started. So for like the nose of the kayak. So I did clean those up, and we'll see if we can find a way to use them. But now we need to figure out the roller part. And to do that, we're going to use this as the brace, but we're going to slide a piece of 3/4 inch PVC over it. That creates the roller. So I need to figure out the length, which isn't going to be the same length as these. It needs to be a little bit less. I think those main ones are 42, so it might be 40 or even 39. So I need to go measure again and figure out where I want it. So stay tuned and we'll figure out what I figured out. That makes sense. So PVC is much easier to cut. I decided to go 39 inches. So I'm going to measure 39, 38, 39, and I'm going to put a mark. And I have these PVC or pipe cutters. I'm going to try and cut it with this, and hopefully it doesn't shatter. It did work, but I dropped my other posts. So I wonder if the hacksaw will be easier. Let's try hacksaw next. Okay, so we got our pipes done and our PVC rollers. Now to make our roller, we're going to basically slide this on there like this, and then affix it like this, and it rolls. That's how we create the roller. So that's our roller, the part of the system. Now I can always trim a little bit off this PVC if I have to make it work better. I need to get out there and lay it out. But the next thing I want to do is I have these extra pieces. And my thought is I can make short rollers for the front. So if that's 42, 39, so I need 3 inches less than this. I found the best way to cut these is actually a mixture between the two methods. I start it with the hacksaw and get me this through the pipe a little bit, and that gives the blade a good surface to cut through. Now I don't know if that's just because my blade's dull, but that's definitely the best way. So, all right, so I have all my rollers built, the long ones and the shorter ones, and I'm gonna fix those with these 2-hole straps, 1/2 inch to match the EMT. So, and I have some epoxy here. I might actually put a little epoxy here to hold it all together because I don't want it to move right or left. But I want to make sure I have enough. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. I have enough. I do have some extra PVC left. I'm thinking rope handle, maybe? We'll see. All right, so it's late. It's late in the day. I started this late in the day. It's getting dark out there. So we're going to have to put this on hold until tomorrow. Tip, those things like to fall over when you stand them up. But it's getting dark out, so I'm going to pick up my mess that I just made, and I'm going to call it quits for the night, and we'll pick up where we left off tomorrow. So let's see what happens tomorrow. Okay, so we made it to the next day. I have all my sections cut, which is where we left off. And then I had these extra pieces, and I kind of threw a random idea out there and making handles. And I kind of like that idea because it's going to be big and heavy. And when we're setting it in and we may need to move it, I want to be able to do it easy. So I got some rope here, and I got these pieces of PVC. I'm going to take 2 pieces and turn that into 4 pieces. And that's going to be my PVC handle. Okay, so now that's really, I think, all we can do in here. I need to set the drill up to go install these handles, and I need to find a staple gun because I'm thinking about when it's going to be down there, I don't want weeds and vegetation growing up through it. So I have this landscape fabric left over from a project, and I'm going to put it on the bottom so that when we lay it in there, weeds and stuff can't go through, but water can get in and out of it. So we're going to do that. So I need a staple gun with stainless steel staples, which I know I have. So I'm going to get set up back there, and we'll be back at the project. Okay, so we're going to install our handles here, and I want to do it kind of in the middle because I figure you go down like this kind of on each side. So kind of looking here, I kind of want it like on the side of each middle piece. So I'm going to drill there, and then just go over the hair. And then I have 16-inch length of rope. I'm going to feed it through this piece of plastic. And I'm going to put that through. We need more rope. So 16 inches isn't good enough. We'll do a lot more than that. So let me get some longer pieces of rope. So I made them much longer. I didn't realize that it would take that much. But same concept, I drilled the same holes. These are going in the same holes I drilled. right? And I want to put it through, but I want to put this little handle that I made through. And I'm just going to tie them together. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this one. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side to give us a way to move this real easy. I don't know about real easy, but it'll be easier with the handles. Okay, so now that we have the handles on, I'm going to actually flip this because this is the top, and I'm going to see if I can make this fabric work for the bottom. I didn't really measure it, it just was kind of an idea I had. And I thought I'd put it on with staples, but I actually have aluminum roofing nails, thank you, with a bigger head. So I'm thinking that that is going to be my move. I like the idea of the roofing nails instead. I'm not going to have enough to do it just all in one piece because it's not wide enough. But I might be able to do it long ways each time. So let's see. We're going to start working on it and we'll go from there. Well, I would have liked to have enough material to go all the way up, but I'm out. So the bottom will be the hardest part to get a weed whip in. So we're going to put the part that's covered down at the bottom, and we're going to leave this open. Now the good thing about this is I'll be able to pull it in and out, and if this works really well, I can order another small piece and finish it off later. So at least for now, the next step is to flip it back over and to put the rollers on. Okay, so now I'll be attaching this together with an EMT 2-hole strap. So basically the first one isn't going to be as much of a roller as it's going to be like a slide, because it'll be on the end of the 2x4 and it bolts down here. It's not really going to roll, it's going to slide. But that I'm assuming that PVC will give me a little bit less friction than just sliding on the wood. So that's going to be more like a slide. It's not going to be like a roller. Now the next one should function as rollers, but in order for that to work, I'm going to have to kind of size these the right way. So I brought my cutter just in case I got to nip a bit off, and I do need to nip a bit off on this one. I want that to roll freely. I'm going to actually nip a hair more. Okay, so now that I got this to fit kind of like a roller, I'm going to put on my 2-hole strap to hold it together. Now that rolls. It rolls the way I want it to. All right, now that doesn't, but it's just a sliding surface. So now I'm going to put on the end first, because that'll be a short one and a roller close together, like a slide and then a roller. And then I want to figure out the spacing. So I now have it fully assembled. Like I said, I really wish I had enough fabric to go all the way, and I'm thinking I'm gonna probably pick up a small piece that I can just add on real quick after. But this is good enough to test it. I mean, it's gonna roll. I think it's gonna work. So I'm gonna clean up the mess, and I'm gonna get a rake and prep the site. And then we'll lay it in and see what it looks like. We also have to fasten this down to the ground so that it doesn't go anywhere. So we'll do that as well. So stay tuned for that. So the battery died. I don't know how if we got the loading, but we got it down there. Now I've got some really serious ground anchors and some rope. We're gonna fix it. There it is. So let's get these ground anchors in. But I need to get a battery. Yep. Yep.
You know I can picture our nephew sliding down this like a slide, right?
I mean, if he wants to.
All of a sudden, like, this lid's gonna be gone, and then all you're gonna hear is a scream and a splash.
Could.
That's how I'm gonna launch my kayak from now on.
How about that?
I'm just gonna yeet it down the ramp.
I don't know about that.
I do know. What is this rope for?
To keep it from floating away.
I thought that's what the anchors were for.
Well, how do you think you fix the...
Oh, you're gonna anchor the rope to the ground?
Yeah.
Interesting choice. What? Is that what you brought me? I don't see it. Oh, you put it over there. Don't you drop that in that creek.
Well, there you have it. She's built. It's in place. I've anchored it down. I found a good spot to anchor it down and tie it up. Last part, the test. Let's see how it goes. I keep a bike lock on my kayak. It keeps the honest man honest. I just feed it through the scupper hole. This thing isn't super light, that's for sure. But a drag strap helps. This is actually a drag strap for hauling deer that I got on Amazon cheap. But it'll haul a kayak too. Safety first. We're gonna put this on. Always wear your life vest, kids. Okay, so I'm thinking, I don't really have a system for this yet. But I put my paddle where I can reach it. I've got this here. I'm thinking I should be able to just kind of slide this off and the weight will tip onto my roller system. We might have to put some guides on here, but man, that definitely slides. Way easier than it did before. I might need to figure out some steps. Oh, that worked. Now I'm gonna kind of come up along the bank and I'm gonna see about getting out and then pulling it up to see if it makes that easier. But I need to position myself first, so I'll be right back. My plan is to use the dock. I like using the dock to get out. I can kind of throw my paddle up there and stand up and get out on this rock right here. And then I can just kind of pull it over to where I want. That was much nicer. I am very happy with that. In the future, I might add some guide rail on there so it doesn't come off. I got to kind of think about the extra weight that would add. Maybe I'll do it in PVC. We'll find out. And some steps might be nice, although walking up the middle of it wasn't really bad. So more to come on that, but yeah, I'd say that this is a success. So kayak loading ramp, guys, homemade. I made it for $100 and it'll launch and retrieve my kayak down my steep bank. Once I get a nice dock here, which is something I want to do, I think it'll be much nicer. But for the time being, I think that's going to do the trick. Now, as I use it, I might find some different little adjustments. But we will see. We will see what we find out here in the future. So thanks for watching On the Creek. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked what you've seen here, if you like fishing content, if you like fishing videos, stuff, and anything in the fishing nature, and hopefully soon some kayak fishing stuff, man, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, share the video, show me some love. So I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching, guys. Get out there and live. Catch you next time here and On the Creek.